Why do I hold XRP? Because Ripple's the chosen one to lead the new global digital payment system, and they use XRP. In 2013, the Federal Reserve began looking for faster payments options. 2 years later, an action plan was born and a federal payments task force was created. It included one company focused on crypto, Ripple. In 2014, the World Bank and Better Than Cash Alliance, which includes the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Clinton Global Initiative, and the governments of 32 countries, put out a report called The Opportunities of Digitizing Payments. 1 year later, the Better Than Cash Alliance featured one crypto company on their website, Ripple. Today, Better Than Cash Alliance and all other UN initiatives are focused on a single agenda, the Sustainable Development Goals for 2030. You can see the SDGs logo on Bill Gates' lapel, world-leading companies, the Better Than Cash Alliance website, and on the UN's official exchange, Exchange. What crypto is Exchange officially utilizing for their carbon credit solution? XRP. The world will move to a new international standard for exchanging electronic messages between financial institutions by 2025 called ISO 20022. Who was the first ISO 20022 member focused on distributed ledger technology? Ripple. Who's partnered with over 300 financial institutions, including Bank of America, American Express, PNC, Santander, SBI, HSBC, Standard Chartered Bank, Bank of England, India, Singapore, Scotland, Australia, and Indonesia, the largest banks in Japan, Canada, Egypt, the Middle East, United Arab Emirates, Thailand, Morocco, Bhutan, South Korea, Brazil, and Latin America? Ripple. Who is a former employee overseeing the Federal Reserve? Ripple. A former employee overseeing the world's largest asset manager, BlackRock's digital asset division? Ripple. Leading Australia's CBDC effort? Ripple. Who hired a former Treasury of the United States? Ripple. 2 former Federal Reserve attorneys to their board? Ripple. 2 former Clinton and Obama advisors, former Minister of Defense and Economics of Germany, former business director at Swift, former Swift board member, former CFO of PayPal, former head of the DTCC, former chief business officer at Uber, former VP of Amazon, and former SEC chair on their legal team? Ripple. Who's a member of the Digital Pound Foundation, Digital Dollar Project, Digital Euro Association, Mojaloop, IMF's high-level advisory board on fintech, Hyperledger Blockchain Consortium, Open Payments Coalition, Faster Payments Council, Global Payments Steering Group, Cross-Border Working Group, International Association for Trusted Blockchain Applications, Crypto Climate Accord, University Blockchain Initiative, World Wide Web Consortium, and a featured partner of the World Economic Forum with 3 members of their team directly listed on the WF website? Ripple. Now, does Ripple and XRP sound like they're going to disappear, or do they sound like they're part of a much bigger plan? You decide.
How many of you know the difference between payment and settlement? Not too many? So, a couple. All right, so let me just give you just a high level on this. I go to a restaurant and I pay with my Visa card, and they let me go and they don't call the police saying that I left without paying for my food. That's a payment. But I still have to pay my credit card bill, and somebody still has to wire money to the restaurant, right, or ACH or whatever payment system they use. The payment has not been settled. Traditionally, payment and settlement have been completely bifurcated into completely separate systems. SWIFT is a payment system that doesn't do anything with settlement. And the problem with that is it makes it hard to do a good payment because, like, you don't know if the recipient, you can't check the validity of the recipient. You don't know necessarily what the fees are going to be, what the exchange rate's going to be when the payment settles. So we built a system that, and the only reason they've been separated in institutional payments is historic. These systems date back from the old days when people had giant wheels of magnetic tape, and the tape was like on the bank's transaction computer during the day, and someone would physically carry it over to the settlement computer that talked to the other banks at night. And there was no way to settle during the day because the tape had to be on the computer that was handling the bank's transactions. It had to go to the settlement computer when it was done. I'm not joking. I'm serious. If you look at your glitzy, like, front-end application for your bank, and it's all really cool, and you can access it on your phone, and it's all really, you know, it's 21st century, but you scratch just a couple of layers below the surface, and it's like you took a time machine. If you're lucky, you're in the mid to late 70s. Like, that's when these systems that plumb the movement of money were built, and they are breaking down. Make no, even if blockchain completely fails, even if all cryptocurrencies are a bust, the payment world is going to change because it's terrible.
A Seagate or an Amazon or an Airbnb or an Uber, these companies all make large numbers of small payments. Amazon has thousands of merchants that they make payments to. Uber, if you're in the Philippines and you're a driver and you need money for milk, Uber would love you to drive for them and buy milk right that day. But they need efficient payments. They need payments that are as reliable as email for that to happen. And that doesn't exist. And each of these companies employs literally hundreds of people just in their payment division. And if you imagine if you ran a payment company, you would love to go to any of these new corporates and say, hey, fire your hundreds of payment people, we'll do all your payments. But there's nobody who can do that. And so if you imagine if I want to start a regional competitor to Airbnb, let's say I want to do Airbnb just in the Boston area, but I want to take incoming payments from all around the world, the solution can't be that I hire 100 payment engineers to make that business work. That can't be the right solution. So this is going to change. This is broken, and someone is going to fix it, and this is a tremendous opportunity.
But you don't need that. If you had this mechanism in every transaction, you could minimize the transaction cost.
That's the whole idea, right?
That's what the whole idea is.
I know.
And that's what I loved about it.
Yeah.
I don't believe we need a international currency like that. There's no need. But there is a huge need to bring down the fees of the interchange.
Need or not, it's here. And
So
it's not
the banks have not wanted to eat their own, to
This
cannibalize
is-
themselves.
this is a
but
big
when you see pressure
cannibalization.
like Libra, do they all get on board pretty quickly and say, okay, wait a second, I'm not going to lose my market share?
Or there's going to be some mechanism of doing what I said, the calibration of currencies that's going between that can just, I mean, you don't need a Libra. You have computers that can monetize and calibrate euro to dollar instantaneous for a couple of basis points, or yen and all that.
In seconds, it won't move as much. And the friction will be that you have to sell dollars to buy XRP and then sell XRP to buy peso.
You mentioned the speed of cross-border payments and the opaqueness of that process, and I guess it's also error-prone to some extent with SWIFT. Santander seems to be trying to approach it with a partnership with Ripple. Just curious what your thoughts are on that.
So I do think that of the use cases out there, cross-border is one of the most compelling. We know that intermediation chains cross-border are long and quite opaque, and they're slow, and they can be quite costly. So my sense is that technology with appropriate safeguards could make a material impact and likely will. And it may well be through a partnership model. I don't want to pronounce on any particular approach, but there are a variety of partnerships out there that are trying to innovate and to reduce frictions and increase transparency for those cross-border transactions. In my sense, I'm fairly optimistic that there are some good solutions out there that don't necessitate a global stablecoin.
You have north of $20 trillion going cross-border each year. It is fraught with error rates, and it's slow, it's expensive. For me, it's a classic like Silicon Valley going up against the big behemoth Goliath, but it's so broken. I mean, when I go talk to banks, it's a beautiful thing for me because banks don't like SWIFT. They're frustrated with SWIFT. Their customers don't like SWIFT. And that's a great place to be when you're selling into that. So do I think there's other vertical use cases? And maybe if I went back, could we do it differently? Sometimes I wonder that, but I also think we have been so fortunate through a little bit of luck and a little bit of skill that we find ourselves with a lot of momentum in, I think, really solving a problem using these technologies.
You want to take one? Go for it. The first one's for you. IMF. Do you see IMF holding crypto assets in the future? I did not put that up there.
Remember, I'm from the legal department. I'm supposed to be very conservative about these things. I don't want to go into great details about
Maybe
the IMF.
I should take what the IMF is going to do. I think we stunned Ross into silence with that one.
Once upon a time, the world was in the midst of a financial revolution. Cryptocurrencies had become the norm, and the traditional financial system's payment rails were becoming obsolete. But among all the various cryptocurrencies, one stood out as the clear choice to dominate the future financial system: XRP. The story of XRP's dominance began with its unique properties. Unlike many other cryptocurrencies, XRP was designed specifically for use in the financial sector. Its lightning-fast transaction speed and low transaction fees made it ideal for use in cross-border payments and remittances, and it was quickly adopted by banks and financial institutions around the world. As more and more institutions began to use XRP, its value began to skyrocket. Investors saw the potential for XRP to become the backbone of the global financial system, and they began pouring their money into it. As a result, XRP's market capitalization surpassed that of even the largest traditional banks, and it became clear that XRP was the chosen cryptocurrency to dominate the future financial system. Governments around the world took notice of XRP's dominance, and many of them began to adopt the XRPL to build their own official currencies. The benefits of using XRPL's technology to underpin their national currency were numerous. It was secure, fast, and cheap, and it could be used by anyone, anywhere in the world. As XRP continued to gain momentum, it became clear that it was not just a cryptocurrency, but a revolutionary technology that would change the face of finance forever. With its advanced features and widespread adoption, XRP ushered in a new era of financial innovation and prosperity for all. And so the world was transformed by XRP, the chosen cryptocurrency that had dominated the future financial system. It had overcome all obstacles and proven its worth, and it would continue to drive the world forward for generations to come.